I am very pleased to present a woman. There have been a number of people who've said, I know many of you have heard this line, Atlas Shrugged changed my life. The Fountainhead changed my life. Here's a woman who's read by millions around the world. She may be our most debated philosopher. She identifies that to which she adheres as objectivism. We'll talk about it. We care very much about your sharing with us your feelings about this most interesting lady, a warm human being who has a lot to say and comes straight at everything she says. I am pleased to present Ayn Rand.
What is Randism?
First of all, I do not call it Randism, and I don't like that name. I call it Objectivism.
All right.
Meaning a philosophy based on objective reality.
To begin at the beginning in one's approach to political economy and to the evaluation of various social systems, one must begin by identifying man's nature. That is, those essential characteristics which distinguish him from all other living species. Man's essential characteristic is his rational faculty. Man's mind is his basic means of survival, his only means of gaining knowledge. Man cannot provide for his simplest physical needs without a process of thought. He needs a process of thought to discover how to plant and grow his food or how to make weapons for hunting.
I want to help people. I want to do good for other people. What's so bad about that?
Nothing. If you do it by your own choice, and if it's not your primary aim in life, and if you don't regard it as a moral virtue, on those conditions, it's fine to help people if you want to.
Why can't I think of it as a moral virtue? I mean, can't I take some vows for myself for doing all these good things?
Because that would be cannibalism. Because that would mean that you preach altruism, which means not merely kindness, but self-sacrifice. It means that you place the welfare of others above your own, that you live for others for the sake of helping them, and that justifies your life. That's immoral, according to my morality. It's economic fallacies. To begin with, nobody in a free society, now we're talking about a free market, in which the government doesn't interfere, nobody can become a monopolist. All monopolies are created by a special privilege for government. It's only by an act of government that you can keep competitors out of your field. Therefore, you couldn't become that kind of monopoly. The power you hold as an industrialist is not the power to use force. It's the power of producing something of value.
That people want.
And it's the people who literally control you, because every purchase is a vote in the favor of some businessmen and in a way against others. It's the public who decides what they want to buy and what they pass up. If, using your examples, you became this powerful tycoon economically, but you can, as an industrialist, it's not the power to use force. It's the power of producing something of value.
That people want.
And it's the people who literally control you, because every purchase is a vote in the favor of some businessmen and in a way against others. It's the public who decides what they want to buy and what they pass up. If, using your examples, you became this powerful tycoon economically, but you cannot force anybody to deal with you, and you cannot force competitors out of your field, then every smaller man would be in that field because you would have established a price way above the market. You might last a month, if that.
So, in other words, if I tried to be Mr. Big and charge outrageously high prices for gasoline, I would go broke, in your view, because in your leave them alone and let competition handle it approach to civilization, somebody with a better mousetrap, pardon my mixed metaphor.
No, that's a very good one.
All right. The point is that women feel, because of the cultural inhibitors that have been placed on women, some sort of women woman leadership is needed to compensate and to break those barriers and to make good all the grievances of the past.
You can do it only by education. If women feel that there's prejudice against them,
yes,
you do it by spreading the right idea that women intellectually are not the inferior of men.
Of course not, but
physically they certainly
that's
are.
what feminists are doing. They're standing up and educating.
No, they're asking for government power and government handouts. They go around depriving men of jobs because you have to have quota of so many women.
But their point is that they have been denied jobs all these years. So let's get at it and start swinging for it.
You do not fight an evil if they think they're victims. I don't. But let us say, assuming that women have been treated unfairly, you don't fight an evil by adopting it and practicing it.
Well, what should they do? Be nice little girls and not say anything and stay home and break bread?
No.
Well, what should they do?
Go into any career of their choice except longshoremen or professional football player, as they're trying today, and fight for their career as every man has to fight.
Would you fight for anything?
How did I get here? All you have to do is show your ability. And if someone is prejudiced and doesn't hire you, the intelligent employer will.
I say that man is entitled to his own happiness and that he must achieve it himself, but that he cannot demand that others give up their lives to make him happy. And nor should he wish to sacrifice himself for the happiness of others. I hold that man should have self-esteem. If it is a love placed above oneself, it is more than immoral, it's impossible. Because when you are asked to love everybody indiscriminately, that is, to love people without any standard, to love them regardless of the fact of whether they have any value or virtue, you are asked to love nobody.
But in a sense, in your book, you talk about love as if it were a business deal of some kind.
I agree with you that it should be treated like a business deal, but every business has to have its own terms and its own kind of currency. And in love, the currency is virtue. You love them for the values, the virtues, which they have achieved in their own character. You don't love causelessly. You don't love everybody indiscriminately. You love only those who deserve it.
And then if a man is weak or a woman is weak, then he is beyond love?
He certainly does not deserve it. He certainly is beyond. He can always correct it. Man has free will. If a man wants love, he should correct his weaknesses or his flaws, and he may deserve it. But he cannot expect the unearned, neither in love nor in money.
There are very few of us, then, in this world, by your standards, who are worthy of love.
Unfortunately, yes, very few. But it is open to everybody to make themselves worthy of it, and that is all that my morality offers them. And now, what is self-sacrifice?
Yes, what is self-sacrifice? You say that you do not like the altruism by which we live. You like a certain kind of Ayn Randist selfishness.
I would say that I don't like is too weak a word. I consider it evil. And self-sacrifice is the precept that man needs to serve others in order to justify his existence, that his moral duty is to serve others. That is what most people believe today.
Well, yes, we're taught to feel concerned for our fellow man, to feel responsible for his welfare, to feel that we are, as religious people might put it, children under God and responsible one for the other. Now, why do you rebel? What's wrong with this philosophy?
But that is what, in fact, makes man a sacrificial animal.
A rational man?
A rational man.
Rational man. A man guided exclusively by reason, an independent man, and a man of great self-esteem. I would name these three as the distinguishing characteristics, the essential ones of what I regard as an ideal man.
So a rational man then would depend upon nothing except his own reason for determining his actions.
Exactly. No. So you don't smell or touch with your reason.
Yes, of course.
That's the material which your reason integrates into concepts. And certainly an ideal man would never permit himself to act on the guidance of emotions or to act without knowing exactly what he's doing. If he's guided by reason, this will be the first two consequences. He will always know what he is doing and why, and he will not act blindly, and he would not act because he felt like it. To my ideal man and to me, this is one of the worst, most immoral actions that anyone can permit himself to say, I did it because I felt like it. It's quite all right to feel, but feelings are not tools of cognition. They are not guides to reality, and you keep your feelings to yourself. Feelings are the consequences of thought and action, not the primaries,
Well,
not the guides.
if I didn't do it because I felt like it, why did I do it?
Because you concluded consciously that this is the right thing to do, right for whichever goal you're undertaking. You decide what you want rationally, and you choose rationally what steps you will take to pursue that goal. So that if you take a given action, you do it because you think it is right. A man should never expect another man to sacrifice for him, nor should he sacrifice himself for other men. If you want to claim any kind of rights, you cannot claim them for your feelings, only for your mind. And the actions I regard as moral are only the ones based on rational goals and rational motives.
Yeah, how does the concept of love for one another, fit into this philosophy?
Shall we start with romantic love? I regard as the most properly selfish emotion there is. You fall in love with a person because you regard him or her as a value, and because they contribute to your personal happiness. Now, you couldn't fall in love with a person by saying, you mean nothing to me. Therefore, romantic love is a selfish emotion. Your response to others is on the basis of values.
You came to America when you were about 20 or 21 years old.
That's right.
And you went to Hollywood. Was this because of your interest in screenwriting?
Yes, but not ultimately. I could barely speak English. I certainly couldn't write it. And it was, at that time, the day of silent movies. So I had figured out that I could be able to write a scenario, but not yet dialogue. That's why I decided I would start with the screen. But my first ambition always was novels.
You did earn your living in the early years in Hollywood in a variety of ways, I suppose.
Oh, I had a bad struggle, yes. I had to hold odd jobs, and I even wait on tables. And the first day I tried it, I was fired right there. But the last job of that kind, I was there a whole week. So that I was learning. But it was the years of the Depression, you know, and it was very difficult. I held all kinds of jobs which were very, very boring, but I was able to write.
Was that good for one's character, to have to suffer that way, to work as hard as you worked?
No, I don't think so. I think the only good is later. It gives you a certain self-confidence if you can overcome it and rise above it. But as such, I don't think hardships are good for anyone.
Our research indicated that you worked without pay for an architect, out of which you first began to write The Fountainhead, which of course deals with an architect. Is that the reason that you worked for the architect?
As research for The Fountainhead, oh yes. And I had asked him for the job for that reason. And he knew it was for a novel, but no one else in the office knew it.
I've read that you had some difficulty with publishers who didn't accept them readily.
The Fountainhead, I had bad difficulties with, yes. 12 publishers rejected it on the grounds that it was too intellectual and non-commercial and wouldn't sell. And of course, it's one of the great examples of a book made strictly by word of mouth. It was the readers that made this book, and it's still going on as strong as ever.
As strong as ever?
Yes.
How many years after publication?
It's now, it was published in 1943, so it's over 25 years. Can you calculate?
30 years.
Almost 30,
yes,
that's right.
30 years.
Because I was presenting them with a philosophy which is desperately needed today and which doesn't exist anywhere else, because there was absolute desert in literature, both literarily, both in regard to romantic realism. There were no such novels. And more importantly, it's the philosophy of individualism. So that the purpose here is for the reader to see what greatness man is capable of and to be inspired by that. My purpose is for you to look at those people and to enjoy the spectacle. As a secondary consequence, you might find yourself inspired purpose of creating an ideal man in actions which you can respect and admire, and which you don't find too often in life.
Do you find joy in that life?
Oh, yes. Very much so.
What are the sources of joy? Achievement?
Achievement. And romantic love, and career, and romantic love.
Wealth is the product of man's intellect, of his creative ability, fully as much as is art, science, philosophy, or any other human value. The money maker is the discoverer who translates his discovery into material goods. But if one watches a man's activity over a period of time, one can still see whether his success is due essentially to his productive ability or to political pull. No single outward characteristic can be taken as a sure sign of the money-making personality. The essential characteristic of the money-maker is his independent judgment. A man of independent judgment is a man of profound self-esteem. He looks at the world wondering what can be done or how can things be improved. The money-maker, above all else, is the originator and innovator. He never says what was good enough for my grandfather is good enough for me. He says what was good enough for me yesterday will not be good enough tomorrow. He does not sit waiting for a break or for someone to give him a chance. He makes and takes his own chances. He does not whine, I couldn't help it. He can and does. He does not wait for trends, he sets them. He does not gamble, he takes calculated risks, assuming the very responsibility which those two attempt to bypass, the responsibility of judgment. The moneymaker has an employer mentality, even when he is only an office boy, which is why he does not remain an office boy for long. In any job he holds, he is committed to a maximum of effort. He learns everything he can about the business, much more than his job requires. He never needs to be told, even when confronting a situation outside his usual duties. The moneymaker is committed to his work with the passion of a lover, the fire of a crusader, the dedication of a saint, and the endurance of a martyr. As a rule, his creased forehead and his balance sheets are the only evidence of it he can allow the world to see. Moneymaker lives, thinks, and acts long range. Having complete confidence in his own judgment, he has complete confidence in the future, and only long-range projects can hold his interest. To a moneymaker, as well as to an artist, work is not a painful duty or a necessary evil, but a way of life. To him, productive activity is the essence, the meaning, and the enjoyment of existence. It is the state of being alive. That long-range vision is characteristic of all the great moneymakers, men who fully realize that the world's work has to be done, and they go on doing it under a deluge of abuse, accusations, and ever-growing demands. They go on, unable to defend themselves or fully to understand, knowing only that the survival of the world hangs on their unremitting effort. They are the silent, unknown, and forgotten men of our culture. Money to him is a means to an end, the means for expanding the range of his activity. A lonely, unappreciated fighter. The pursuit of happiness means a man's right to set his own goals, to choose his values, and to achieve them. Happiness means that state of consciousness which comes from the achievement of your values. Now, what can be more important than happiness? But happiness does not mean simply momentary pleasures or any kind of mindless self-indulgence. Happiness means a profound, guiltless, rational feeling of self-esteem and of pride in one's own achievement. It means the enjoyment of life, which is possible only to a rational man on a rational code of morality. What that code is...
Do you think it's important then that we be guiltless in our feelings about this?